Welcome, friends. This is Ramkumar here with this educative series. This episode will talk about the type of securities. This is part two in the series, where we'll be talking about the basics of debts, the types of debts. Since debts is a tough and big subject, and there is lot more to talk about rather. Then in one session we will not be able to complete, so we will be having multiple sessions. Here we will be talking about the basics. I am currently not registered with any regulator of India like RBI, SEBI, etc. The remaining part of the disclaimer you can read at leisure on the screen in front of you. Now, what are debts? Debts are basically loans, take in layman terms, taken by a company or from banks or NBFC, that is non-banking finance companies, or from any other entity. The debts could be raised either from the within the country. So since we are in India, we will talk about the country as India, or it could be raised from outside of India if the expenses were to be spent outside of India, or if the company wishes to get it back into India but at a lower cost in terms of a lesser interest to be paid. Now, what are all these concepts? We will see as we go along. Now, people use the word debts very loosely. They are basically debentures or bonds. Again, we will see what is the difference between debentures and bonds and other such things. Now, basic type of debt, or I will, for simplicity's sake, I'll use the word debenture. The basic or bond, basic type of bond or debenture is cumulative. Cumulative is where everything gets cumulated in terms of the interest payable. In terms of interest payable means that suppose you were to invest in a 5% debenture spread over 5 years. What typically one would believe is every year you will get 5 rupees because it's a face value of 100 rupees. Now, what is the meaning of face value? What is interest called in market parlance? We will see as we go along. But assuming you, for the investment of 100 rupees, you get 5 rupees every year. At the end of 5th year, you get your 100 rupees back. So what you would have earned over the period of 5 years is 5 multiplied by 5 years. So 25 rupees. Suppose you were to say that I don't want interest on a yearly basis. The company will say, okay, at the end of 5 years, I'll give you your 100 rupees, which is called the principal. And instead of giving 5 rupees per annum, that is per year, I'll give you 30 rupees as the cumulative interest. So you will get at the end of 5 years, you get 130. This compares with 125 in the first scenario as against 130 in the second scenario, which is cumulative. Now, what is the meaning of non-cumulative? Non-cumulative means, by definition, you will be getting interest, while the principal will be received by you at the end of the period so specified by the company. Now, interest, again, depending from person to person, would change. There could be a person who may want monthly. There could be somebody else who may want quarterly, that is once in 3 months. There is somebody else who may want half yearly, that is once in 6 months, or annually, that is yearly. So the company decides that if their cash flow so permits, to issue the bonds or debentures with interest payable at these rates or this frequency or this periodicity. So these are generally non-cumulative, or sometimes some people call it interest bearing debentures also. Now, what are the difference between bonds and debentures? As we saw earlier, we will talk about the differences. The debentures are basically or normally unsecured in nature. Unsecured means if for some reason you invest in debentures or in that instrument and the company were to close down or go bust, as they say, then you will not be having any property of the company, assets or liabilities or receivables or anything backing these debentures. So to that extent, you may stand to lose in case the company's valuation does not support repayment of this principal of this debenture or interest on these debentures. What are bonds? Bonds are a grade above the debentures. So bonds again are issued either in the nature of debentures, which are by definition unsecured in nature, or they're issued in the nature of promissory notes, which has a promise from the company that your principal will be protected, it will be paid. So bond is basically secured and debentures are unsecured. These are the general definitions. There could be some differences somewhere. We will see as we go along. Now, who can issue these bonds? Corporates can issue, government can issue. So we will see about the corporate bonds first. So all companies, many companies, not all, many companies which want to raise funds for a medium term or long term will go in for bonds. So you have a Tata Steel or Muthoot Finance or Kosamattam Finance who may be going in for bonds. So when these companies go for bonds, it's called corporate bonds, loosely. Second type is government securities. That means the same bonds or similar bonds issued by the government. Again, here it could be state government or central government or even municipality for that matter. So if it is issued by the government, central or state, then it is called government securities. And these are generally longer in tenure. So it is not short-term instrument. So generally the tenure will be 1 year or more. So typically you will find in the newspapers or in the media that 7-year yield is 7%, 7-year yield is 5%. That means government securities issued for a period of 7 years is carrying an interest of 7% or carrying an interest of 5%. Generally, government securities are payable half yearly. That means, assuming for simplicity's sake that the issue was done on 1st of January, you will get interest on 30th of June and 31st of December every year till the expiry of these government securities. The expiry of bonds is called maturity by some people. Some people call it redemption. Second type of bonds issued by the government, state or central, is called a treasury bill. So in short, they call it T-bills. So T-bills are generally less than 1 year. So the maximum period for which the treasury bills is issued in India is 364 days, which is a day less than 1 year. So these are also issued by the government based on the requirements from time to time. Next is a promissory note. Promissory notes is issued by those companies which carry a good standing in the market. So the company promises to pay the investor or the person who is invested in the bond that on the expiry or the maturity or redemption of these bonds, we will pay you so much. So these were issued earlier by companies which had the backing of the state or center. So you can give an example of HMT, the watchmaking company, which used to generally give a promissory note drawn out from state of Karnataka. They sometimes even issue guarantee. So there is a guarantee by central government. The bonds are guaranteed. So there is nothing to secure the debentures or bonds issued, but the sovereign guarantee of the central government. Similarly, you have state government guaranteed securities where the sovereign guarantee of that particular state is given. So here, in terms of how good or bad the debts are, is based on the placing of the state within the country. So the bond guaranteed by state A may demand a higher interest rate than bond guaranteed by state B. This is how it works. But the highest would be for the central government guaranteed instrument. Next, we'll talk about debentures. As we mentioned earlier, debentures are generally unsecured in nature. Earlier, there used to be concept of letter of allotment, which is now kind of almost non-existent. Earlier, the letter of allotment used to remain for a week or for a month or two before the charge means some security was created behind the debentures or the bonds were issued, and then the letter of allotment used to be converted into debentures or bonds. Nowadays, letter of allotment is converted into debentures on allotment, since even before the debentures are issued to the public, the securing of the property behind the instrument is ascertained by the entity called trustee. What are those trustees and all, we'll see in the next series when we get it released. Should you find this video informative and educative, kindly pass it on to your friends. Please press on the like button and subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Doubts, queries and suggestions are welcome. You may reach me at ramkbharosay@gmail.com.